You there, Kit? We're just starting now, okay? Okay. Okay, see you soon. Cheers, mate. My apologies if you're listening. Tēnā tātou katoa, now mai hori mai te kai tēnā hui o ki puārika, huri o Kāwhia. Greetings to you all and welcome to today's Kāwhia Community Board meeting. I'd like to call on Board Member Mahara to say the opening karakia.
E tō mātou matua I te rangi. E mihi ana mātou ki a koe mō tēnei rā. Nā mihi mō manaakitanga me tō aroha. Tēnā, manaakitia tēnei hui. Arahina o mātou whakaaro, o mātou kupu, me o mātou mahi. Awhinatia mai tō rongo me tō wairua tapu. Kia ingoe mātou I runga I tō ingoa o ihu karaiti. Āmeni.
Thank you for that. Apologies, I've got apologies from Board Member Few. I'll move that. You accepted? A second.
Right.
Move and second. Yep. Public forum. We did have a public forum speaker, but not here, so we'll move on through public forum. Late items. There are no late items. There's declarations of interest. Nothing in there. Right, confirmation of the minutes of the last meeting. Board members would have read through that. Is there anything in there? Nothing in there? I do have one thing. It's under the board members' updates on page 14. They've all been all the board members' updates have been lumped together without separation of what the board members are reporting. So if I could just ask that we go back to where the board members' updates are listed by their name, by the board member's name.
Yep, you would have heard that, Clive.
Yeah. Rather than saying this is what we talked about, okay? Is there anything else in there?
Yep, I've got the issue of our meeting finishing early, and that the other meeting, this matters, and I just wanted to know that, did anyone know that that other meeting was arranged, and how was it advertised?
Not too sure.
Because we finished our meeting early. To me, it seemed.
I can't answer this.
Okay.
Yeah. Apparently, it was advertised through Otaronga District Council through rings, but you had to go and register. I was surprised for it. I wasn't prepared for it, and yeah, I just wondered because, as I say, our meeting finished and we went straight to a meeting that I, as a board member, I wasn't aware that it was happening. I can only say that, but we thought it was poor planning, perhaps. Point noted, Board Member Harper. Thank you. Decision reports. Oh, sorry, I move that those minutes be accepted as a true and correct record. Seconded. Moved by Board Member. Decision reports. There are no decision reports. Information only reports. There's no information reports. So moving straight on to board members' updates. Ladies first.
Okay.
Board Member Mahara.
We had a busy month last month with the Careers Expo. Once again, we have it annually in the community hall here. Careers Expo. Chairman Jeff was here as well, and it was a great turnout.
Yeah,
Fabulous, yeah, and you were here. Fabulous turnout, and that's under Martin Ray.
Yes.
Jazz.
And Rania Martin.
Yeah. So that was really, really good. That was a positive one. And then we had a home repair workshop, and that was from Habitat. And that was here last week. So that was attended quite successfully with some locals. And then there was the Waipai Energy Power that were here as well. Yeah, so that, you know, those outside services are coming in here and providing services for our little community. So that's really positive.
it is positive, Annie.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And it's good work by the hub to try and get all these groups in here and other groups as well.
Yeah.
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 It's damn good.
That's great, yeah. Yeah, that's all of this to share.
Thank you. If I forgot to mention, we've got apologies from board member, from councillor Kit Jeffries. He's late, to be on his way here. Board member Harper.
Yeah. I have had numerous people asking me for a public meeting to discuss the forced amalgamation and the perceived closure of the community board. The pub gardens are progressing. I just need to find some fill to finish them off. The sports club is looking really good, and Dave and Judy deserve a large congratulations for getting Kāwhia, the newest facility, up and close to completion. I didn't get to their AGM, but they had a great turnout, and despite all their setbacks, it looks like it'll be a great new addition to Kāwhia. $1.5 million worth of building for Kāwhia. It's just great. The placement of the bollards near the museum seems to have been a very popular decision, so well done. The Kai Fest committee has their AGM this Saturday in the hall, so that's something to look forward to. And I have had concerns raised with me about the loan to carry out the maintenance on the hall, and it's been viewed as a burden to the ratepayers that we didn't have to bear, as we have money in the bank. And I've been asked by numerous folk, what is the council's intention with our 200K?
Our intention.
So that's my report.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want any updates on that?
If I get updates, that'll be good.
I'll give it. In terms of the general reserve fund, I've got work in progress on that. So I've had a meeting last week with Tony and Kyle and Brian Bunn, and they are going to get a more concise terms of references for our fund. In terms of the 50K loan for the hall, Tony's looking at, and Graham's looking at turning that around and using some of the general reserve fund for that, rather than burden the community with a $50,000 loan. But yeah, I take on board your point that in 2 years' time we might not be here. We need to work hard for the next 2 years. Really make sure we stay here, or make sure that when we leave, we've left a good legacy behind. Okay, there's two options here. Okay.
I just want to know whether you're going to step off the sinking ship.
No, I might stick my hand up. Be captain. Cancel that. Anything else, board member?
No,
Was that all?
that was all. Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thank you
I
very
cut it down because I know you like me to keep it short.
I never like you. Okay. Yeah, we've had a couple of cancelled meetings, so we could have had a longer board report, but I'd just like to thank Annie, board member Harper and board member Mahara for his support coming along to the elected members workshops. Okay, always enjoyed participation in that, and our last one was the June one. But thank you for coming and supporting some.
Are we going to the August one?
Yes. Yeah. So we can still attend in the public forum. Okay. I'm not too sure what happens. Apparently, we can still be invited if the elected members workshop and follow things Kāwhia, but I'm not too sure. All our invitations have been cancelled until September 2000. So I'm not too sure what we're successful there, but we can still attend. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Waipā Networks, I had a meeting with them earlier this week, late last week. They want to have a community meeting to just find out from the community what they need from Waipā Networks. Okay, the healthy homes funding and air conditioning funding, all sorts of funding. They just want to find out the resilience, what the community expects for the resilience out here in terms of, do they need a permanently situated bloody generator out here, things like that. So they're really working hard to do that. So I'm going to, that's scheduled in for 5 PM after our next community board meeting in September. Right. We got the Okapu Marae committee meeting. I'll be invited along to another one as a trustee, so they must have trusted my counting. And I'd just like to thank the council too for providing the budget books for Kāwhia.
Yeah.
I'll have a quick corridor with you guys afterwards and see if there's, all the questions come to me, I'll collect them all and send them all to council. That's why we're not bombarding them.
Yep.
I've had quite a few street inquiries, you know, when you're walking down the street or you're walking in the supermarket, it is about the confusion around the rubbish contract. Right? So hopefully we've cleared up the confusion around that. But there are some things that are put together in the little report to council, just some of the things that could be explained a bit better. Huh?
I'd like to have some input into that if I could. I've had a number of concerns about it.
Yeah, what about you?
No, it's nothing that, but I've been using it and I like the service.
Yeah.
Like I go down there and it's quite tidy and clean now.
Oh, you mean
The dump, yeah.
transfer station?
Yeah, transfer station, yeah. It's nice down there now.
Oh, that's good.
It's tidy.
Because Wheaty's still there, isn't he?
Which is, yeah, he stayed on.
Yeah. I want to congratulate Otaronga District Council for the effort put into that Head Start program.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, just for you guys to pull that together so quickly like that. I know you've been dancing with Waitara for a wee while. That's been a long engagement. So I think the marriage might come sooner, but you know, there was a lot of work and thought put in by Otaronga District Council councillors and Otaronga District Council staff. I think you lead the pack in terms of what you've seen from the other councils, eh?
Yes, thanks for that. And at the council meeting, the work of Rebecca was acknowledged as well. So she pulled it together for the council.
Yeah.
It was a team effort.
You know, I'll pass on our regards as a community board.
Yeah, thank you.
Our thoughts. That was a huge effort to pull that in there. And yes, you know, the initial draft came out and gave a little bit of a shock with regards to the future of the community board. But it's up to us to prove their value here. Right? In some way, I still feel that Kāwhia particularly does need some sort of representation. It was acknowledged in that initial draft that Kāwhia has a well-organised community board, which is pretty cool, you know, because we do take care of what we do out here. So that'll all be part of the consultation process. But I think somehow we need to stand together and see what we can do on that.
Taupo's position is an interesting position they've taken, and I think we've been too hurried, to be quite frank with you. I think they have unfairly put us put us under the pump as far as those timeframes go. You know, not every change is a bad change, but they've certainly put us under the pump. And I just think that.
Yeah, but I mean,
more time.
The council is a good example of well organised. Right? You can get over the line if your bloody coach is up your bum. Sorry. Councillor Jeffries.
Good afternoon. My apologies for lateness, Mr. Chairman.
Accepted.
Yes, just while you're on that Head Start, can I also just extend the thanks to Rodney, our mayor, for the relationship that he's developed with the mayor of Waitomo. I think that's been a critical relationship there, but also the project team, which was Tania, Ben Schmidt, and Rebecca and Kat from Waitomo as well. They've done pretty much, would it be fair to say, Tony, they've done pretty much the donkey work in terms of pulling this all together. So
That's the A-team.
Yeah, that's the A-team. Yeah, so if you could acknowledge those, it would be very good. Thank you. I can't find my bloody agenda.
Good. We'll take your report as read if you want.
What?
You want to? Are you looking for a bit more for your report? Are you?
I can't. For some reason, rather, I can't find my agenda even at the moment. So just give us a minute.
Okay, that happened to me too.
Yeah. And
I thought it was only me.
just while we're talking about the transfer station, I was up there on the weekend, And yes, I agree, Andy, that it is looking tidy with those bins and everything there, but the board, as you come in the gate, that has all the prices on it, still needs to go up. So I think, anyone coming into the transfer station's really got, unless the guys in the shed tell them, there's no idea what the charges are at this stage. So if that could be expedited, that would be useful. Yeah.
Anything further, or you're still talking on your agenda?
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise, so this is the councillor update thing, is it? Yeah. Yeah, all right. It'll be pretty much heads up. I'm sorry, I'm not very well organised today. I've been
It's okay.
flat out and doing.
Well, if we can move on, if you want, we can come back to you.
Yeah. I attended the annual general meeting of the Kāwhia Museum. That was a good meeting. They got a reasonable crowd there. And Barry Buckley I thought he was from Aotea, but he was saying he's from Uparau, got up, and he was one of the ones that first started the museum back in 1990, along with a guy called Jim Webber. And Jim used to be a writer for publications, obviously in New Zealand, but he was there. He used to write about motor cars and things. He was their motoring correspondent. Yep. So between the two of them, they got up and running, and it's been gathering strength ever since. I also had an AGM out at Waipapa, the Runanga, Hikairo, Runanga. I went out for that, and that was really interesting. They produced a very comprehensive annual report, which I thought was one of the better ones I've seen for some time. And I can provide that to anyone who's interested in it. But I did raise with them, I was probably a little bit blunt, but I did say to them, why are you guys taking so long to get your act together in terms of getting back to the council in terms of the fitness trail? And but I understood that with Jeanette Sholem, who's now shifted away to Tauranga, Gayleen Kānua, or Gayleen Harvey as she is now, she's been flat out in her job, I guess, with Head Start and that sort of stuff as well. And so it's sort of fallen by the wayside a bit. And it's in our concept plan to get on and do it. And I'm trying to actually push both sides of the equation, both the Runanga and council, to perhaps try and get some traction on that, because it's one of those things I'd like to see happen before we actually get into the amalgamation proper. I'm not saying it'll get lost, but I think these are the sorts of things that will be really good to nail them before we actually enter into the 2028 unitary authority, whoever that might be. So just before I came down, I got an email from Pippi Barton, who is representing the Runanga, and she says, kia ora, actually the Runanga had a long discussion about it, and this was to do with, as I understood, they had a problem with a piece of the equipment being installed on Kāwhia track because of the cultural significance of that area. But she's saying that the Runanga had a long discussion about it, and they didn't have a problem if the equipment was going to replace the current seat on the Kāwhia track, but we're not keen for any new diggings in the area or placing equipment anywhere else on the track. So it sounds like the site that's been identified is okay to them. They'd be quite happy with a bigger seat, but they don't want any digging or anything associated with it. So if that's the only impediment to us actually getting on with it, then I'd say, let's do it. So I'll just wait for a written confirmation on that. The Careers Expo here on Friday the 17th, that was good. I didn't think it was as well supported as last year's. I thought last year's was a real cracker, but this one a bit light on numbers, I thought, but nevertheless, it's good to have it. And it did create some interest locally.
I think they had 8 people pull out at the last minute.
Today,
So that's why it was slightly smaller than it was in the past.
Yeah.
But it was, it's still a good initiative, trying to do something.
Yes, that's good. We've also had a number of workshops during the month, including a joint one with Waitomo on the Head Start. And the relationship between the two councils is very good, I have to say. And the councillors from each council seem to be able to get on pretty well with one another. I think there are some potentially some points of difference, but I think they're minor. I don't think it's going to be a game breaker when it comes to actually going ahead with the proposal. So now I think we've got till to tomorrow to get that. Was it today or tomorrow?
It's been submitted.
It's been submitted.
Yes.
Yeah,
And acknowledged.
yeah, and acknowledged too. Right. So I guess within a month or so we'll get an indication as to whether that's acceptable to government or not. Cross fingers that it is. If it isn't, then I guess there's some further discussions to be had with some neighbouring authorities. I see. I think it was today. I see on. I think it might have been even been a local government newsletter. That the regional council are being a bit naughty, in my view, in saying that because they're regional councils, they can't actually put a proposal in, but they're actually saying that they support anyone else who's going to put in a proposal for a solitary unitary authority across the whole of the Waikato. In other words, to me, that just smacks of the regional council carrying on, but in a different capacity, if you like, or wearing a different hat. So I was quite amused by that. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, I think, Mr. Chairman. We had that big power outage on the 24th, but again, when you're talking about Waipa, you've got to commend those guys for the proactive approach that they take in getting those generators out here. The disruption was minimal. That went on a bit longer than I think it was intended to, but nevertheless, that was good. So that's pretty much for me. Yeah, thank you.
Month.
Yeah, it's been a busy month. Yeah, and there's a whole lot of other things happening behind the scenes too, which are not relevant to what we do here. But yeah,
Thank you.
yep, good. Thank you.
I did forget to put in my update with regard to the facilities of upgrading the kitchen. I did some digging around and I've got quotes for a dual hot plate and a fridge and a yeah. So the hot plates and the pie warmer came to about $1,500, which I was quite surprised of. And the fridge depends on what you want, but I think about $2,500 you can put a really good kit out. So I'll have to talk to Tony and see what the next process is in that.
So if you just submit that through to me and Mark, and then Mark will be able to put that in.
I'll send some photos, some boards. What I could only find in terms of the hot plate was single ones. Okay. But I said I really wanted to double because it was a bit harder to move. So get this. I'll show you some photos, okay? And then put the go button, okay? That's all. Thank you for that. Moving to board projects. Board member Few is not here. We'll pass on that one. Board priorities. Graham gave me a brief update. That is still a heavy work in progress. I've still got one little hiccup, one little roadblock to get over. And if I can get over that roadblock, we'll see what happens from there. Okay.
I had heard that there had been another objection from one of the part owners.
I've only heard one, so I don't know, so I'm not too sure. Priority 2, progress the community centre improvements and maintenance. That's something coming from Jared eventually on what we're going to spend $100,000 on.
Yeah, through you, Chair, I did talk to Jared this afternoon just after our conversation, and the majority of that funding that's been earmarked for the hall is in relation to the roof and some of the windows that need fixing, but I think there's also been some inclusion for the upgrades for the kitchen. But I think if you're looking at the bulk of that money is tied up with the roof replacement.
Okay.
No, it's not something. I think he said it's somewhere between 50 and 80. And the windows around 20.
Okay.
So,
And that's fixing these ones, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, he obviously hasn't priced it up yet, otherwise he would have given me.
Well, if we could have a chance to just an informal catch up with them, because
It would be nice to get a schedule,
Yeah.
you know, like when it first came up, they talked about 300K for the roof and all the rest of it, and people get concerned. So it's hard to answer the community's concern unless we had a schedule mark, you know, it would be much easier, you know. I presume we're doing it under a maintenance schedule.
It'll be a capital project.
Yeah.
so the things we have to work on is reversing the call on the $50,000 loan if possible, and making that come out of the reserve fund, the Kāwhia reserve fund, and that doesn't leave a debt for the community. And then possibly we'll have a good discussion about what's left in that Kāwhia general reserve fund, because we might be able to scope the project up a little bit.
So you need to formalise that through a board resolution, and if it needs to go back to council, then it'll be a recommendation. to council.
That's what so things have changed over the last couple of weeks, Mark.
Everyone I've spoken to agrees with just what you've said, Jeff, about the money coming from the, not as a loan, not as a further debt for people.
Well, I think if we
People are
could
struggling.
organise a quick meeting,
Well,
just so we can move something on.
Yeah, and then we can bring a report,
Yeah,
probably back to
yeah.
August, on where resolution
Yeah,
to access those funds.
Yeah, yeah.
So just so I'm clear on that, so the discussion that we're bringing the report back is around the funding, how that's going to be funded, not necessarily the projects.
Both.
But like through board member Harper, you're thinking of a schedule of maintenance, which
Only in regard, Mark, if I can help, it's because the hall is going to be out of action, isn't it? You know, you're not going to be able to use the hall if they've got scaffolding all over it and they're doing the roof. It's just not going to be safe. So it's more about that, because we have regular users and people want to know if there's going to be this maintenance or this job go on. Let's know when the hall's not available.
that definitely clears that up, because it's more about when the program of works is going to occur, rather than a maintenance schedule of when Jared might be fixing a heater or.
Yeah.
No, sorry, yeah, I should have made it clearer. No.
So just to be clear, we can, find out, like Richard says, when it does happen, what window will it be filling in?
Yeah.
And the scope of works. We could have a wonderful opportunity here to really, do some more work here. And I know board member Mahara has some ideas about opening this up a wee bit. So now.
That's going to tie in really well to our workshop today, because you'll know that sits within the town concept plans.
Yeah.
The upgrade of this hall, so you'll all have an opportunity to prioritise those projects. And that may end up being a high priority. So
It might be, yeah. We've had the changes over the last month in particular, what would be happening to the Kāwhia community, and the Kāwhia Community Reserve Fund. We need to really put our thinking caps on how to make sure that whatever we do with that is best for the community. And you think of this as a community facility, this sticks its hand up, for some really serious dollars to be put in there. So we just have to revive. We're going to think beyond the roof and the sticky windows.
I would just like to make the point that the hall is very much needed during the Kai Fest. So it would be really good if that area was blanked out, so the hall was available to be used for that weekend of the Kai Fest.
Yep.
That would be extremely good.
In all
Well,
reality,
maybe if we look at this in reverse, then maybe it might be really important that we know the days this fall. Like, for example, the Kāwhia, the individual bookings is probably something we would know a bit more, but
Yeah.
the Kāwhia is Waitangi.
Yeah, Rebecca, actually, thanks for raising it. Rebecca came back to me just today to say that she's booked the hall for 3 days.
Yeah.
The 5th, the 6th and the 7th of February.
So I'm sure Jared, and I know he's online because he just messaged me before.
Yeah.
I'm sure that will be at the forefront of his thinking is the timing. Yeah.
great, this is great. So, I say, the reason for the change, Mark, is the change in the last month.
Yeah.
On the whole Kāwhia thing, so.
Okay.
Kāwhia General Reserve Fund, yeah, well, that's what we're talking about. So the balance is at $206,000. I've talked to Graham, and we're going to have a more precise terms of reference coming through.
Yes, in the terms of reference, there is a little bit of confusion because in the preamble it talks about the board has full discretion, and then under the delegation, it talks about the council need to make some decisions. So it is a little bit unclear. So Graham's going to type that up.
Yeah. So we'll have clear rules on what we can do. Okay. The Kāwhia Community Board Discretionary Fund, we've had no applications for that. You will note there, we're looking at page 19 on the agenda.
Yep.
And you will see in just under there in the notes, ODC have yet to consider the board's request to carry over unspent funds for 25-26 financial year. If approved, the total remaining will be allocated. That's about 2,900 things left over.
Yep.
So any idea when that could be put in front of the council?
Not sure. It shouldn't be too far away. It might even be the next meeting.
There'd be no request for funding, right? Kāwhia Community Centre, higher charge waivers. You've read that preamble? You all know the rules on that one, eh? It can't be, it's got to be voluntary one, it's got to be weekly regular service, can't be a one-off. Definitely cannot be a profit. You can't make any money out of the hall, you can't charge unless it's like a community.
Unless they pay the commercial price for the hall.
Yeah, well, community market's different, okay? And Rebecca made the right call on that.
Yeah.
Okay. So community markets are different. But in terms of you want to come in here and run a tattoo studio, it's tattoo section, and you charge full price, and you're paying.
Yeah, fair enough.
So clients just advice the carryover of last year's discretionary fund will be considered in September council meeting.
Oh, good, right. Are you all comfortable with reading the previously granted waivers? Operation Kāwhia Kai for All, Kāwhia Horora Club, the strength and training exercise class, Roller Click. They're all the ones that were previously granted. Kāwhia Kai for All has finished that little exercise.
Yes.
You did well there. That was great. It was a sad that it finished like that. Roller Click has moved on. It's too cold. The request for Kāwhia high charge. Have you read that from applicant 1? That is the existing Thursday. This is a rollover from 26 to 27. Right? So I'll move these as a pair of two. Okay. So you're all comfortable with applicant 1? That's Marge Uppity and the okay. Request for Kāwhia is applicant number 2. That's the Kāwhia Horora Club. That has been a raging success for that. You know what they're doing and using this hall, and based on the fact that they didn't have to worry about putting money aside for the hall. And that's just growing some leagues. That thing, it's great. I love their posts. I love their positivity. They're applied for an extra day, which is Friday, and that is they're going to have a go at that ping pong. What is it? Pickleball. Pickleball, right? So they're going to have a go at that. So that's really rocking and rolling that group, I tell you. Right. So if you see them there, that's Monday 3:30. Tuesday 3:30 to 5, Thursday 3:30 to 5, Friday 4:30 to 6:30. You might notice, Richard, during the winter there's some morning bookings coming through. They haven't applied for that, but I haven't worried too much about that. Sometimes they run a 1-hour class in the morning. Okay, so they haven't.
I thought that was in the original application.
No, but they haven't put it in here.
Okay.
Right? So just if you see it changing through, then we might have to do something. But so I'll move that. Those 2 requests be accepted and approved. Seconded. Board Member Harper.
All those in favour?
Right.
Against, carried. Thank you very much, board members. The resolution register, resolutions of, this is page 21. Resolutions of the Kāwhia Community Board, which are not yet finalised. That is K20, which is item 8, which is the old person housing policy, where at a community board meeting, we asked the council to consider a 60% market share of market rates for the pensioners housing. That was taken to the council, and based on the new information that the financial department had given them, they felt that there wouldn't be too significant an impact on pensioners' rates. Is that correct, Councillor Jeffries?
That was pretty much what Graham
Yeah.
told us, yeah, with the increase in what the government gives them, the difference will be very little.
Well, I would prefer to leave that as that on the resolution register then, just to get some, wait till we get some feedback from the pensioners to make sure that it hasn't hit them too hard.
Yeah.
And this way it'll keep us all. So are the board members comfortable with that resolution staying on there?
Yep, I agree.
So that means there's a staff recommendation there that the Kāwhia Community Board approve the removal of resolution. Can I change that to the Kāwhia Community Board wish the resolution K20 to stay on after we take? I'll move that. Second, all those in favour? Thanks, carried. Public excluded. Nothing. What do you want, Mark? Do you want to do your sneak in now, or do you want me to close the meeting and you do the workshop?
Follow.
Around the room.
I guess we are.
Mr. Chairman, sorry.
Who seconded that?
Any.
Thank you.
I meant to mention in the updates and acknowledge the passing of Callum Stewart, our Chief Fire Officer. He has been with the brigade for many, many, many years, and his loss will be very sorely missed. So I think it's appropriate that we acknowledge the contribution that he made in his time with the local
We've
brigade.
had a bad run at Kāwhia lately, haven't we?
We have,
It's
yeah.
been a sad few months, that's for sure. Sad few months, but I acknowledge your words, Councillor Jeffries.
Thank you, and sorry to interrupt, but when we were looking at the board priorities, did we talk about the boat ramp? I didn't,
Yeah,
and what was, sorry,
there's still a road,
this was,
there's still a roadblock there.
is it, okay.
Figuratively.
Figuratively. What the road,
What was the problem?
traffic management's looking at it. Anything else, board members? Great, positive. Monty, thank you for attending. Okay. We apologise for a couple of cancellations that we had, but I think we'll keep plodding on, that's for sure, okay? With your support. You should stand for the board, mate. The revitalised board. All right, I'll call on Mahara to say closing.
Kia tātou katoa, te ata whai o tō tātou ariki o ihu kraiti. Me te aroa o te atua, me te whiwhina tahitanga ki te wairua tapu. Āki. Amen.
And it is 4:43, and I declare the meeting closed in half.
My turn next to try and make a